too. I don't think you have to worry too much about damage onto the Calyrex.
Alright guys, we're reacting to the Pokemon Regional Championship Masters Top 8. We're just going to do one match and see what it's all about. So he's going to terrestrialize immediately to the Ice Rider Calyrex. Fake out. Not very effective though.
No spiky shield this turn, but it's just a fake out trade.
Yeah, I mean, neither side probably.
These guys know more about Pokemon battles than I do.
Especially for Alejandro, you're excited breaking that sturdy. Unlike most of the matches we've watched.
Alright, he's going to use Follow Me on Smeargle. Okay.
Difficult and I believe actually impossible for the Ogerpon to regain the sturdy ability for the remainder of the game.
Dying.
The one thing I do have to wonder is if locking in your terrestrialization turn number 1, knowing that you're most likely to trade fake outs, makes sense. Certainly, if you do guess incorrectly and the Incineroar goes on the offense there, that's a huge risk. But this is only game number 1. I think it's a lot of information to give up very early doors for Alejandro. Chances are there's
only 4 Pokemon in ranked, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess the same, and maybe just watch the last.
So what's he gonna do now?
I don't really want to lose
Follow
my restricted Pokemon that way.
No, not at all. But Follow Me will keep that Calyrex Ice Rider
attention.
protect for now. Taunt from the Ogerpon ensures
Ogerpon is OP right now in this meta, or
not going to do much else for at least its time on the field for now. Knockoff will bring
Smeargle is going to survive with 1
Sash, and
health.
That opens the opportunity for this Calyrex Ice Rider to twist the dimensions as anticipated.
Distorting the dimensions.
So you get the Trick Room up, but you don't really get a whole lot out of it. Smeargle now going to have two options here, or I guess 3 options.
What's
it
he
can
gonna do
miss
though?
Fake out,
yep,
knock itself out,
yep,
this full,
or flee.
Full quality,
So,
full quality for you guys.
Or I guess and fake out and knock itself out because you're gonna be pretty hosed.
High
with the
horsepower
on the field, so likely to exit here. We see 2 pretty good options in the back, but maybe one a little bit better than the other. And I see kind of Alejandra's game plan for this one.
Yeah, typically you do want the 2 hits of an attack into the Smeargle. At this turn you set up Trick Room so that your secondary attacker can come in under the first turn and put down a lot of board pressure. But fortunately, Alejandro does have that Indeedee holding a Rocky helmet in the back, and that switch will mean that it's a teeny
Indeedee.
These Pokemon will be taking some additional chip damage if they were to land any attacks.
Any damage matters in this
that being said, though,
sweaty
they will
match,
have to worry about this Calyrex Ice Rider attacking first, and that's exactly why we see a spiky shield on that Ogerpon. But
ooh, hits him with some good damage.
The high horsepower into the Incineroar, and it's actually parting shot, giving Ian the opportunity to switch a Pokemon.
But Indeedee's attack's gonna fall.
Yeah, pretty good turn for both sides there. Not like super baited, but a nice play by Alejandro not to attack into that protect. Gets Indeedee out there safely. More importantly, gets Smeargle off the field, and we do see Amoonguss coming in. You mentioned the helmet on Indeedee, which critically is not safety goggles.
It is not safety goggles.
What's he gonna use?
While Alejandro will have one
that double attack, and then
this
he
is
might
really
switch.
a tough position for Calyrex Ice Rider to be in if it's unable to pick up the knockout into that Amoonguss in 1 hit. And given that we haven't seen any Glacial Lance, or excuse me,
this is
yet into play, this Amoonguss probably will be able to take
this
one attack, and as a result, will be able to threaten to put something to sleep.
Incineroar will be able to eat this damage for sure.
On the Calyrex, there isn't a protect, which is really going to limit the options as this battle continues.
All right,
they're going to terrestrialize too.
From Ian now in that match, and the Amoonguss on the field will be terrestrializing away from its Glacial Lance weakness. So now it's going to take even
Amoonguss really that guy or what?
Just OP with that. Which means there is more time for Alejandro's Pokemon to take a little bit of a nap in this matchup. Follow Me will ensure that Indeedee is going to be the center
so
of
the
its
Follow Me
attention,
means that they have to attack that one?
going to sleep thanks to the Spore.
So hear me out.
All right, I'll hear you out.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity for pretty interesting play. We're going to see Glacial Lance come in first. Probably not going to do a whole lot of damage.
Glacial Lance is deadly, but it's not good against Incineroar.
But I think the next turn is what's really exciting here. So we have Amoonguss staring down this Calyrex with a chance to spore it. I think both trainers know about one possibility, though, which is what if the Pokemon in the back is Hatterene, who has that magic bounce ability to face down with a Amoonguss that no
Ice Rider
longer
Calyrex looks top tier right now in the meta, guys.
So I'm glad you
so
brought that
up,
Scott,
up Ice
I was
Rider
thinking about that as well. You know, Hatterene is a very slow Pokemon. Not as slow as Amoonguss under Trick Room or just in general, but still can get down there in numbers, as they say.
Is slow as heck.
More importantly here, Hatterene has magic bounce, which will mean that any status moves just bounce right off it and back into the target.
See, I want to get more into this, guys. Competitive Pokemon. This is actually kind of dope.
No natural immunity to Spore, and Amoonguss gets a taste of its own medicine. Unfortunately, this does open up the opportunity
double
for
damage.
The Calyrex Ice Rider on Ian's side of the field to connect a lot of damage via Glacial Lance, but Hatterene is able to fire
What's he gonna
back
do
with
now?
some
Expanding
big damage of its
force?
own.
Yeah, I think there's some question whether or not that
And he's
really
gonna switch.
like Alejandro
Swap
in a great position.
out
I mean,
one of
I've
his
always wanted to see
Pokemon
that
as
tournament
weak.
match. Like, it's just like the sort of thing that seems like it doesn't happen at this level, and what a fun interaction.
For sure. I mean, it does open the opportunity for Alejandro's own Calyrex Ice Rider to come back out onto the field now, but I think critically this is another turn where Ian can very safely click Glacial Lance and not have to worry too much about what Alejandro can do. Hatterene will have one
Calyrex
opportunity
has
to
two
attack
abilities.
here,
Calyrex,
expanding
opposing
force is
team
going to do
nervous
some
to battle.
resistant damage to that
Hearing
Pokemon,
expanding
and
force.
not threatening KO on the Calyrex.
Dang,
and
that's
also
OP.
misses out on the
Good chip
knockout on
damage.
the Amoonguss, which is very, very tough. It will stay asleep, but this Glacial Lance is probably going to do enough damage to pick up the KO on the Hatterene, and now that the Calyrex Ice Rider on Alejandro's side of the field
Hatterene's
isn't going
out.
to resist damage either, that's really
That's
starting
bad
to
for
add
the.
up.
Yeah, it's sort of
For
a complicated board state.
contestant.
The chilling neigh for the Calyrex on Ian's side. Twisted Dimensions will return to normal, so if nothing else, perhaps the trainers will get to learn which of the Calyrex is quicker, as they've kind of been jumping in and out of battle here.
I feel like you can make some assumptions about that, though, because on Alejandro's side of the field, the team is so tricker and weighted that you would most likely want your Calyrex to be as slow as humanly possible, whereas Ian's side of the field, you want that Amoonguss to be, as slow as possible, so you underspeed opposing Calyrex Ice Riders, but that does open up you to, invest a little bit in your speed. Maybe not invest any stat points in there, but certainly not have the minimum base points needed.
Yeah,
And there's a lot going into this, guys. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Perhaps a fake out in prison could be pretty devastating, especially if the Amoonguss sleeps for another turn.
Well, it is going to sleep for another turn. I think it's used Spore so
Going
many
to
times
sleep.
to catch up on its own rest. And,
Staller.
they get a Spore here from the Smeargle into the opposing
That's a
Calyrex
good play,
Ice
actually.
Rider. So that will buy more opportunity for
Buy more
Alejandro
time.
to go either on the offense or on the defense. It's going to be a Glacial Lance. So
He's gonna hit him with the Glacial Lance. Not much damage, but is able to take out Amoonguss.
You imprison next turn if you so feel like it.
Yeah, so now the last obstacle for Alejandro is really going to be that Ogre Pond, where, as long as you don't get whittled down too much from Calyrex, and kind of just take that imprison whenever you need it. So, decent position here. The Ogre Pond, of course, as a grass-type Pokemon, is not going to be vulnerable to the Spore, has not terrestrialized its weakness away the way that, or its immunity away, rather, the way that the Amoonguss has. So, hey, if the Ogre Pond can pick up a knockout, maybe it can get moving here, but both of the Pokemon that are remaining as the opposing Calyrex's allies are able to redirect attacks away, and both of them will be doing it with Follow Me rather than Rage Powder, so Ogre Pond not going to be immune to it.
Exactly. I mean, Alejandro does still have a timer in the sense that the Smeargle will be knocked out this turn, the Indeedee will be knocked out by another Ivy Cudgel, but if you can use those 2 turns to, imprison then Glacial Lance, and you know that with your Chilling Neigh boost, that is going to be enough damage to one-shot the Ogre Pond Cornerstone on the opposing side of the field, that's really all you need at this point in time. If the Calyrex Ice Rider can't attack, either because it's asleep or because you've banned all of its moves, essentially, that is your win condition. And interestingly enough, we see the Cornerstone Ogre Pond on the inside of the field go for a Spiky Shield, so possibly hoping that the Calyrex Ice Rider will wake up to do some damage. It does wake up.
It wakes up.
Has not been used yet, so Glacial Lance will pick
Ooh,
up the
that's
KO on
big
the
damage,
Smeargle
guys.
and leave Calyrex
Able to take out the
critically
Smeargle.
low on its health, but it still can attack this turn. It still can take an action, and as long as it shuts down the Glacial Lance, I think Alejandro still has this.
Yeah, that's a huge move there. I think anything other than imprison and the game is over.
Still asleep though.
But yeah, Indeedee going to come out in the field, and it's sleeping. And as we mentioned before, the downside of imprison is that you do not have the protect. Cannot just try to wait for this Indeedee to wake up. So even with the imprison, the damage from the opposing Calyrex may be enough. It's going to have to protect now, but while it covers its eyes, perhaps Ogre Pond is going to be able to protect it and knock out these Pokemon.
Yeah, Ivy Cudgel has no opportunity to miss, so it is just down to, will Indeedee wake up this turn? It does.
Indeedee woke up.
It does redirect the Follow Me, so now
That's
Alejandro
OP.
has this one Glacial Lance to pick up the KO on this Ogre Pond. We see the Indeedee go down. It's now all up to the Calyrex Ice Rider. It's gotten some boosts. It's gonna do some damage.
It's
here.
got boost, guys.
Will
It's powered up.
it
It's Super
be
Saiyan.
enough? It connects.
Let's see.
And it's a KO.
What
KO.
a huge knockout. That indeed might be teeny, but it was mighty. It wakes up at just the right time, allowing Calyrex to pick up that knockout with just 18 hit points. And with the opposing Calyrex locked in to protect for the rest of his game, Alejandro is going to take game 1 by the skin of his teeth.
Dang. Locked in
Here
protect.
from Alejandro, taking a lot of risks,
Dude, what a
switching in that Hatterington
shout out to
magic
Alejandro
down
for
back
winning
onto
that
the
one.
opposing Amoonguss. And at the end of the day, even though Alejandro's own
Good
Pokemon were also
Pokemon
asleep,
battle.
able to get that
Ian
critical
Holdman
wake-up
did
in
have
that
the
final turn
chance to
win
come
the
back though.
Yeah,
Shout
it
out
was
to
just
him
that
too.
close. Yeah, so many fun interactions in that
He
game
almost
where,
made the comeback
you
right
don't
there.
get the
That was
score on
crazy.
that Hatterene switch. I think that's also basically just game.
Yep.
And I think it's also just sort of a fun element of Alejandro's team. You may notice as this game goes on that there are 5 Pokemon in Alejandro's team that hits an Amoonguss for super effective damage. So perhaps one of the greatest teams of all time at forcing the enemy Amoonguss to Terastallize, which then opens up that Magic Bounce play. I'm going to be guessing that that's not the first time Alejandro
So
has pulled
those
that
are the
one off.
top tier
I was going
Pokemon,
to
huh?
say, you know, as somebody who has dabbled in
Anyways,
Calyrex
guys,
and
hopefully you guys
strategies,
enjoyed my
it really
reaction
is
to the
minimum
Pokemon
speed
Regional
Amoonguss that
Championships.
absolutely ruins your day. So
And
the
let me
fact
know
that
if you
have
guys want
more
to see more
psychic
videos
type
like this.
Pokemon
It's pretty
is no
cool.
surprise.
Have a good
And
one.
also Torkoal.
Let me
Yeah,
know
exactly.
what you guys
It's
want to
funny,
see to
four
win
Pokemon
too.
super effectively, because, you know, Indeedee definitely